Since it first aired, Dragons Rising has left a lot of unanswered questions for viewers of the show. One of the main ones being, who is Roz's master? And the identity of his master has actually been unknown since the first season. And even after season 2 finally having wrapped up, we still don't know who it is. But I've seen some people speculate on who this master could be. And one theory in particular that I've continued to see is that Roz's master might be the Overlord. There's also been a lot of speculation about the Overlord returning in Dragons Rising in general, but where this happens most is regarding the topic of this mysterious master. I personally don't have any particular guesses as to who this is, if it's even a character we've met before at all, but I do want to talk about why I really don't want it to be the Overlord. The main reason being that I feel like battles against the Overlord have kind of run dry. We see him as the main villain in Season 2, Season 3, and as the Crystal King and Crystallized. So I feel like it would be a lot more interesting if they introduced an entirely new character. And if it does happen to be one that we've seen before, I would prefer it to be one that we haven't seen much of. And then there's the Overlord's general concept, which is essentially that he's the embodiment of evil. And he eventually comes back when enough negativity and hatred has made its way to Ninjago. The Overlord feels less like a character and more like the personification of the perpetual battle between good and evil. Which is a cool concept, but it means that the Overlord pretty much lacks any depth as a character. So it gets less interesting, in my opinion, every time we see him. And we've already seen him in the past again and again. And again. And I don't really see how the Overlord could be Roz's master anyway, because it's unclear whether he can travel to other realms freely. Of course all the realms are merged now, but they weren't always. And in Roz's flashback, when he first met his master, he was very young, and the merge hadn't happened yet. So if the Overlord was a Ninjago-specific entity, then it wouldn't have been in the wildness where Roz was. Of course, though, with all the realms merged, the Overlord could essentially be anywhere. And because he always comes back, there's always a chance that we'll see him again. Unless somehow he were to be destroyed permanently. But to me, the Overlord kind of feels a little bit overdone. Not that I don't think he's a good villain, but in order for him to take center stage as a villain for multiple seasons, I feel like they would have to add more to the Overlord, which would be difficult to do because, again, he's characterized by being the embodiment of evil. He doesn't really have any backstory or motive or anything. He's just something that is. And I feel like you can only carry a character like that out for so long before it finally runs its course. And I personally think that the Overlord has run his course. But it seems like one of the main goals of Dragons Rising is to introduce new ideas and characters to the series to keep it entertaining. And so far, it's done a pretty good job of doing so. So I don't think that Dragons Rising has any intentions of bringing the Overlord back. But if for some reason they did, I do feel like the writers have the potential to make it interesting, to make it feel fresh in a way. Because while Dragons Rising has some highs and lows in the writing department, I feel like overall it's a genuinely well-written show. And with so much change having been introduced to the series recently, that could mean a lot of change for the Overlord if he were to return. I feel like he was at his best during Legacy of the Green Ninja and rebooted. But that's just my opinion on the Overlord. I don't really feel too strongly about him. But that is all for now.